Welcome back. This video will cover part 2 of Chapter 11, Social, Consumer, and Media Psychology for PSY 120, Careers in Psychology, Neuroscience, and Human Development. What kind of coursework may help you prepare for those BA level careers, those entry-level careers that were described in part 1? This list, these lists that are in your chapters, they're always alphabetical. If you take a course in social psychology, which is last on the list, that's going to cover social cognition, persuasion, consumer issues like using persuasion techniques in sales, as well as attitude change. So a basic social psychology course is a real advantage, as is taking courses in research methods and ethics. And depending on the type of business setting, developmental and cognitive psychology can be really helpful. What kind of elective work? If you're interested in marketing, business, any of these areas that are directly related to consumer psychology, taking a marketing class, taking a PR class, taking other courses in business and communication can be really important, setting you up to be well prepared for that kind of work. So depending on what your target is, like if you're really interested in marketing and advertising, those are courses that you should focus on picking up. I've had several students over the years did a straight psych major, but they wanted to work in marketing and advertising. They weren't sure which yet. One of them decided to go entry level straight after the bachelor's degree, took what he knew about social psychology, as well as the minor he completed in business with an emphasis on marketing and advertising, and got an entry-level job and then started climbing from there. The other, she decided to go on to get a master's degree in consumer psychology, and works as a market analyst, basically. What are some of the applied and research experiences that can be good for people wanting to go straight into BA level careers? Any kind of internship or work experience where you're working in advertising, working in a variety of business settings, including sales, can be good experience. Working in marketing departments as an intern, or even just as someone who is an assistant. You can get sometimes internships in real estate firms, but retail, for all of its faults and pitfalls, can actually be good experience to show customer relations abilities, but also sales abilities. On the research side, look for faculty members, not just in psychology, but also in sociology and in business, who are interested in consumer behavior, in decision-making processes, in how groups behave, and those who study social psychology and persuasion. What kind of opportunities are there with a graduate degree? I've mentioned before, I've had several students go on and get advanced degrees in the marketing area. Some of those degrees are through business schools. Some are straight up psychology programs in consumer psychology. Marketing refers to any of the activities that companies engage in to get the word out about their products and to sell them. Market research analysts are typically have advanced training. They are researchers, so they are expected to have advanced statistical skills in using statistical packages like SPSS or R to run research, collect data on people's opinions, collect data on their behavior in order to shape a business, the decisions a business makes in terms of marketing. Brand strategists are people who use the market research analyst information to cultivate the image that's associated with the product. So, for example, Subaru has ads that really capitalize on people with dogs, right? So the market research analyst said, there's a lot of people out there who like to go everywhere with their dog. And we have a brand that we can tool ads that really fit with that. So, a lot of, the market research analysts, they may have heard from their data that people like to put their dog in the back of their Subaru Forester and go off into the wilderness and have lots of fun. They may even find out, just what percentage of our people are dog owners and what percentage of our people are engaging in outdoor activities. They'll share that with the brand strategist. The brand strategist says, we can cultivate part of our image as being around these dog owners, these people who love their dogs and they love to do stuff with their dogs and they take their dog with them. So then they're going to share that information with the actual people who build marketing campaigns and say, build me a marketing campaign that emphasizes pets. And that includes the nonprofit kind of donations that the Subaru company makes. So I'm starting to sound like an advertiser for Subaru, and for clarity's sake, I drive a Chevy, but they have a lot of clever ads that start with you and your dog and the fun you're having with your dog, and then they have a tagline that shows that they donate a certain amount every year to these charities that are associated with animal welfare. Brand strategy directors, in that director position, those are management and executive type positions. They are responsible for the overall what's called vision of the brand. They oversee the strategists who actually it's their job to carry out that vision. Marketing managers, they're the ones who lead the sales activities and the marketing activities. They may be working for a department, or in small organizations, they may be working for the entire company. Large organizations have typically marketing directors in senior positions who supervise a bunch of marketing managers who are running the marketing efforts of the company. There's also positions in advertising, PR, and sales management. There are bachelor's level options associated with these jobs. These are the more advanced positions with more responsibility and, as a result, much higher pay. Advertising managers are in charge of keeping track of promotional activities, advertising, investments within a firm. PR managers supervise the PR specialists that were described in the bachelor's level opportunities. It's their job to direct what kind of publicity programs are put into place. So the PR specialists, they are going to respond to their managers, and their managers are going to dictate what kind of programs they put out. They determine, for example, the target of various publicity campaigns, and will also be responsible for evaluating effectiveness. PR directors are the people who are in a more senior position. So if you're thinking about this hierarchically, the PR director is at the top, the PR manager is in the middle, the PR specialist is at the bottom in terms of doing PR work. Sales managers are going to be in charge of people who are doing direct sales. So let's say you have a car dealership, you're going to have a bunch of people who are sales associates. They are under the supervision of sales managers. Now, if you're looking at the 2022 data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median salary for advertising managers is about $130. The median salary for PR managers was about $130,000. PR directors about $160,000. So you can see kind of the higher pay you get higher pay the higher you climb in the hierarchy. Now, this is an area that may not seem intuitively to be directly connected to social, consumer, and media psychology. However, we have become a data-driven world, especially in terms of business applications. So there's a whole career path open now for doing what's called data mining or data science. Lots of universities over the past 20 years have created data mining training programs in data science. It involves using statistical methods, using statistical analyses to dig into very large databases looking for patterns. So, this kind of data can be sought out by marketing strategists to construct strategies. So without the data, without knowing what patterns exist out there, then, how do we know who to target? Social and consumer psychologists who have a really strong set of skills in data analysis may decide that they want to get some specialized training in data mining, and that may, pull them into the computer science side of things. Data mining basically involves going into a data set, using statistical techniques and methods and computational algorithms to extract useful information. It's used in every industry, doesn't matter what kind. If you have large amounts of data, data mining may lead to useful information. If this is something that interests you, if you have an affinity for data analysis and you enjoy it, and you have an affinity for using computers and doing coding, seek out some computer science classes where you're learning about databases like SQL, DB2, and Oracle. Advertising, public relations, and sales management also have opportunities. I've already talked about advertising managers a little bit along the way here. These are individuals who are in that management level of an organization who oversee the rank and file advertising staff in designing those activities. So they're going to make sure things come in on time, that they're delivered, and that the contracts are being handled. So if, let's say, a firm contracts with an agency to deal with promotions associated with a new campaign, the manager is going to serve as the liaison between the marketing or the advertising firm and the company that's hired them. PR managers, again, I've touched on this a little bit already. They're going to supervise the specialists who direct the programs. Public relations managers are going to have to be very, very aware of their communities, of their culture. They're going to have to keep up with social, economic, and political trends and use that information to enhance the image of the company and keep it in a positive light. And, to give you a concrete example, think about in the last couple of years, how corporations sometimes find themselves on the bad side of the public relations conversation. Like Target got dinged in recent months for pulling back on pride campaigns and for pulling back their investment in Black-owned businesses. That hit them hard on the public relations side. I don't know whether they just didn't see it coming or whether they didn't care, but it sure hit them hard. Their public relations managers probably took a lot of heat as a result of the blowback from that sort of public scathing commentary. Sales managers are going to work to design a sales program. They're going to hire sales representatives. They're going to train sales representatives. They're going to make assignments of who sells where and when. They're going to set goals for their sales representatives and so on. So, if you're thinking again about that hierarchy, you have sales representatives, above them are sales managers, and then you may have above the sales managers, district managers, and so on. Some things to keep in mind in terms of educational considerations. Social consumer and media psychology do tend to be very research-oriented skills. The highest level positions that are research-based tend to be occupied by people with doctoral degrees, but many of the career paths that have been described in this chapter, a master's degree is suitable, and in some cases, a bachelor's degree is suitable. There are master's programs in social psychology. They may be standalone, but more often they are an area of specialization in a broader experimental psychology program. There are some master's programs in what's called applied social psychology. The emphasis there is in real-world problem solving and real-world settings like advertising, marketing, business. Consumer psychology programs are sometimes found within social psych programs, especially the applied ones, but there are also standalone master's programs in consumer. There are some schools that have combined programs with IO, so having industrial, organizational, and consumer psychology under the same roof tends to be expedient because in some cases there are some similar overlapping requirements like research methods, data analysis, and statistics. Many consumer psych grad programs can also be found in business schools. They're typically referred to as consumer behavior or behavioral marketing programs, but they tend to deliver much of the same content as a consumer psychology program. Both areas, consumer psych or consumer behavior, they're based on the same research literature and share research journals. So just depending on what your orientation is, if you're more invested in the business side of things, getting that degree in a business context may be the most expedient for you. If you're more interested in the psychology side, getting the psychology degree may be beneficial to you. Finally, media psychology. There are some standalone master's programs in this area. They're not typical. It may be a subspecialty of social psychology. It may also be a subspecialty in communication studies. So you'll have to do your homework there and look to discover what kind of programs are available in your specific area of interest. And that concludes my coverage of Chapter 11.